Hi guys. So somebody was really excited about the walkthrough for this, and I have my other two decks set for Reading of Witches because I'm using those for that, and I'm gonna have that done here in a bit. But the Grateful Dead Tarot, and I guess it's authenticated by the group, and this box is a pain in the butt to get out with one hand. So the official tarot and guidebook. So this is Elizabeth Jazdrowski and Aaron Codigan. I don't know that print. I don't have my glasses with me, so this is the one I got for my birthday because I'm hoping to get the music oracle at some point. This is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted this, and I, love Grateful Dead stuff. This is stuff my parents listened to back in the day. But anyway, this is what the guidebook looks like. It's a pretty thick guidebook. Of course, you got the ribbon, the box. The cards are thick. Anyway, the meanings are a bit different with this deck. There's the back for you. Haven't shuffled it yet. Haven't even had a chance to use it. I thought it would go really great with Wizard's Tarot. So I think next week that's going to be what, and then I'm going to do the De La Nuit Oracle, or Nuit, however you pronounce it. But, this deck is a bit different. The meanings and such, it's not traditional Rider-Waite in that sense. Instead of the Fool, you have the Storyteller. So some of the meanings are different. Now, while I do this walkthrough, and I've been planning to do this video for a long time, but I was going to go to the park, and either it's too hot, like it is now, or it's raining. So I'm just going to do it this way, because I have been thinking a lot about some of the videos that I've seen creators do here as of late. When we've been talking about boundaries and self-worth and all of that, and the patriarchy, and just all of the topics that have been coming up lately in discussions. So, when it comes to the whole man versus bear argument that Erie had brought up in one of her videos, and it was talking about divisiveness. What brings about the divisiveness is two things. The society who's basically put people in roles and has been strict in instilling those roles, like making fun of a man who cooks. That type of thing. You have to blame society for that. That's the one thing. The other thing that causes divisiveness is the total lack of logic and critical thinking. Now, logic and critical thinking doesn't mean that someone is stupid, but you're just not implementing those particular parts that you were gifted upon your birth. Because for one thing, a man with no weapons, no nothing, no tools, no nothing, is not, because I've sat in on these debates. Well, a man's going to protect you from the bear. With what? With what? No weapons, no tools, no nothing. A man isn't protecting a woman from anything. That's one. The other thing is that bears only attack during certain situations. If they are sick, or they feel they're hungry, or they feel their territory has been invaded, or you're messing with their young, right? So unless you're doing things to, or infringing on their habitat, okay, that's what gets people attacked by bears. So as long as you're not doing nothing to aggravate a bear, you're not going to have any problems. So my next question would be, well, what would you do? What did you do to the bear to make the bear want to attack you in the first place? Yes, there was the whole thing of, well, the bear's not going to try to do anything with me. Bears know where water sources are. It's in their instinct, right? Bears kind of know where food sources are. Fish, But then again, if you don't have a way of cooking your food, because dehydration is going to get you before starvation does. So, there's that. People not using logic and getting triggered because they said something against men. And again, that's internalized misogyny. I'm going to agree with Yuri about that. Because people that maintain that are only doing it because they have a fear that they're going to be losing their way of life. So, and, women that victim shame other women and do all those things, because their world will collapse if the patriarchy falls. So, the other thing that I wanted to talk about a lot was things that, talking about boundaries and how you set boundaries, and when you set your boundaries and your boundaries get crossed, and how people try to manipulate you and guilt you and throw temper tantrums and such because you walked away because your boundaries were crossed. So, that's definitely something that's a problem. And yes, you do need to set your own boundaries. So, that's something in your own self-worth, definitely. Because I remember when I first started on YouTube, because I was around a year before I even started creating my channel, and it used to be about people having fun on this platform, doing live chats and doing things that were fun. And now it's become about competition and control within a lot of these communities. And, to the point where you're even trying to control dictate what other kind of content that other people do. Because somebody gets upset because they're trying to sell a product, a lot. There's just becoming to be too much capitalism within social media, or specifically here. It's really getting out of control. And like I said, we're even trying to dictate the type of content that people do. And I'm talking like normal stuff. I'm not going to condone somebody who's a bigot or ableist or racist or homophobic, transphobic, none of that stuff. But you should be able to do, as long as you're not hurting or abusing, you should be able to do whatever content that you want to do. And when you say and do messed up stuff, yeah, you should be called out on it. Or, you don't get to... People think before they speak. you want to create content, then there's a responsibility. You take on a certain responsibility. And within the spiritual community, we're supposed to know better and do better. But then again, we have a lot of people that are cowards and don't own up to their bigotry and their isms and phobias because they know that a lot of people won't stand for it. So they hide and do things in private rather than in public. That's the other thing when it comes to being authentic. Authentic to me is being one way when the camera is on and another way in private. That's just my opinion. And there's a difference between having an opinion and voicing an opinion and trying to force your beliefs and your opinions onto other people. Again, dictating the type of content that people do. Not to say if you don't say something that's messed up, then you have to accept the consequences. I think we teach our children about having consequences when they are bad or they misbehave or they're disobedient, but then when we become adults, we seem to think that we're free from consequences for our choices. And then I see a lot of issue with people trying to take choice out of things. Like, we should be able to choose, right? And there's a lot of people's choice being taken away. And what they choose to do. It's forced upon them. It's dictated to them. What type of tarot deck you should buy. And that's the other thing with tarot. It's becoming, like high school. Like, you're with the classism and the elitism with it, Like, everybody has to have this deck. If you don't have it, then, we went through this in high school and middle school. We're all adults now. Come on. And I'm not saying everybody, but, I used to have a saying when I used to be on the other platform. If it don't apply, let it fly. And if you see a deck and you don't like the art or you have issues like myself with sight issues and the print or something like that, and you say it doesn't resonate with you, you don't like the art, it doesn't resonate with you, you're not obligated to buy every deck that comes out. Right? And you're being made to feel obligated. And then there's the whole budget thing, especially in this economy. People are going to do what they can afford to do. I've seen people go at others for buying witchy supplies from Dollar Tree. I was telling Essence of the Moon a story about how I was gifted to Santa Muerte Oracle and the tarot, and the host lit into me because he's just screaming that I was culturally appropriating when the person who bought them for me for my birthday was Hispanic, but okay. That's the other thing. Yes, I totally try not to culturally appropriate, but sometimes those that are being culturally appropriated, those spirits, those guides, those entities, you just need to let them handle business. But we can't control what other people do. We can only just turn it off, unsub, and walk away from them. And not associate. That's all we can, really do. And I've been listening a lot to what Sonia has to say about traditional witchcraft. I have no problem with someone doing a mock-up of a spell. I do mock-ups of spells. I don't show the entire thing from start to finish because, I believe in the witch's pyramid. I have a problem with making it public the type of spells that you're doing. Because And I've learned this on my time on the other app. And if they're over on TikTok, they're over here. And those of you who are anti-patriarchy, there are practitioners, people within the spiritual community that support the orange one, and they won't come out and say it or think that he's a nice guy and totally support him. And if you're putting that stuff out in public, what do you think they're going to do? So, or they'll mess up your stuff when they find out that. So I think there needs to be some caution. But like I said, I may show a mock-up of everything, but I totally believe in the witch's pyramid. And I think if they're over on that platform, then they're over here too. And I think that that's something that we need to be mindful of when we're doing certain types of workings. And if we're doing those types of workings, maybe for everyone's benefit, not make that public, because there's a whole thing now on people that had done spells on the CK individual, and now we're all getting flack for that. So, again, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just saying these are things to consider, because I won't tell people what to think or how to feel. But when you say something that's messed up and bigoted, I am going to let you, I am going to say something to you, and then not associate anymore. So no, I'm not being a hypocrite. I agree a lot with what Sonia said about traditional witchcraft. And I see the thing with New Age. And they both have their merit and they both have their place. And there needs to be balance. And there needs to be respect for other people's paths. And there's not. I may not agree with a lot of the choices that people make. But that's their choice. Unless when it comes to any type of harm or abuse or something illegal, then yeah, but, because you have to say that. I don't tell people how to practice, and I don't tell people whether or not they should practice or show things. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just saying think about this from here on out. All right? Because I'm not going to tell anybody how to practice or what to practice. And there just seems to be a lot of this whole back and forth with those that are light workers and New Age and those that are traditional witches. And like I said, I don't believe that you should. I thought that was the whole thing, that everybody was individuals, but yet everybody's telling everybody else how to practice. But as the spiritual community, we are supposed to have our ties to the land and for healing. And I don't see a lot of that going down lately, because we are really abusing things here currently under this administration. And it's not going to be good. They are even digging up cemeteries now to put in those lovely little data centers. And taking people's homes. So, it's really getting to be a bit on the monotonous side. I do this for me. I'm not monetized. I don't plan to be monetized. But this I understand people have to make a living, but I think some people are taking things way too far. And we are supposed to have morals and ethics. And that's the other thing. You don't get to tell someone what their morals and what their ethics should be, and then call them something when they call out some bullshit. Because I'm seeing too many excuses being made for people that do messed up stuff. Kind of hard to do this one-handed. So I'll probably do another video like this again, but I'm going to be doing it at the park, because that's what Willow Night Owl used to do, is these types of videos and talking about things. So maybe pass on the torch, since she doesn't really, she's got too much going on and can't really do content anymore. But we're supposed to know better, and we're not supposed to tolerate a lot of the things as a spiritual community that I see being tolerated. And I'm just going to do me and do the type of stuff that I want to do. And if people watch, and if they don't, well, they don't. Because I started this for me, not for others. Making sure that's not stuck. But I've made a lot of great friends on here, and then there's also people that I've seen the best and worst in people on this platform, on social media as a whole. And I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff, especially when we move. I'll be able to do more things. We have a yard and all that now, because I'm kind of restricted as to what I can do here. But I know there was other things that I wanted to say. And I'll probably go back through the videos and take some notes and do a part 2. But this heat has been just getting to me, and I'm exhausted. And I got the 2 other decks that I wanted to show you guys. So, and do something out of the park before we move. But I'm to the point where I dropped the card. I'm really starting to get disappointed. Maybe I should be mad at myself because I expected too much. Because I'm learning about not putting people on pedestals. Really am. That's the other reason why I wanted to. Because they're going to be starting fireworks soon. Now, I understand that some people, they need this platform as a way to get away. There's nothing wrong with anybody taking a break or needing a space to get away from everything that's going on. I respect that. I agree with that. But I also see that if you look at like the Holocaust and the Underground Railroad, it was the people that were not loud and proud that saved the lives of others. Because the people that are loud and proud are the ones that are watched. There's other ways to get things done and to help without being loud and proud. And I'm not saying anything about not using privilege. And speaking of privilege, people that live in blue states don't know how rough those of us living in red states have it currently. Just something to think about. But like I said, I try to avoid it. I may post stuff because I need to get storage off of my phone and I need it for something later. But that's probably like the only time that I really post anything. I like the imagery in this. I need like another fantasy deck. So, you know, I can look at both sides of a situation, and I can get it from both sides. It doesn't mean I'm going to change my opinion, but I try to look at things from both sides. But we need to can't. That's another thing that I was going to say earlier. When we talk about community, and you look at the most beautiful winter picture, right? Out in the forest, or, you know, just a beautiful winter picture. And you see all the snow and all of that, and it's just this beautiful winter picture. Yes, the snowflakes came together and created something beautiful, but there is no snowflake. Each snowflake is individual. There are no two snowflakes that are alike. You shouldn't have to give up your individuality when it comes to community. We need to have some balance with that. Everybody can get together and work for the greater good, and everybody is gifted in some areas more than others. Some people are gifted in multiple things, can do multiple, you know, be gifted, but you shouldn't be giving up your individuality and told how to think and what to do and all that for a community. That's a bit culty to me. Your individuality and what you can bring to the table and what your gifts are. That should be something when it comes to community. And I'm starting to see a lot less and less of that. Of people being discouraged from being individuals. And being told what to do and how we should all just be sheep. Instead of being individuals and just be good and just be sheep. And just do as we're told. I'm really kind of liking this deck. This is like more fairy tale themed, I think. But anyway, now that I've yammered and rambled on for a bit, and said some of the things I wanted to say. Peace, love, and light, guys. And if you want to like, if you want to do whatever you want to do. I understand, you know, that maybe some people don't. I understand why some people don't comment, and that's fine. I don't expect anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, because I don't like it when people do that stuff to me. But hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough. And by the way, this is really thick cardstock, by the way. So I haven't messed with it yet. I haven't done any readings with it, but I think I'm going to for the next week when we do reading with witches. But anyway, guys, peace, love, and light.